Part 27. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 261. Chapter 261 Announcement of Zhang Ziyu joining the legend of Qing Cheng. The rest room of the cast and crew of Empress Yuan Zhao. Because a new big scene was to be set up outside, the rest time for the actors was much longer this time. Zhang Lingzi simply took out a math test paper that Su Ling'an had tailor-made for her, spread it on the small table where they usually eat, and started working on it. Su Ling'an was reading next to her, calmly helping to keep track of time. To avoid disturbing the two of them, Lu Zhengzheng consciously sat in the seat farthest away from them. He had a work phone in his left hand and a personal phone in his right hand. In fact, checking her mobile phone is also her daily job. After all, she has to pay attention to the trends on the internet at all times. Her artist cannot be hacked inexplicably. Fans and passers-by have been led astray. They, the staff who are around the artist, don't know yet. Control and evaluation is also one of her basic tasks. Fortunately, not long after the program Heritage was aired, Zhang Lingzi won her first public Go match against a recognized genius player from country R. This really slapped many doubters and haters in the face. It was rare to calm down during this period. Many. Looking at the bottom of Sister Xixi's account, it was quite calm and the years were peaceful, and there were a lot of fans who became fans because of Go. Lu Zhengzheng concluded in her heart that everything is going to be peaceful today, and she exited the page with a relaxed expression. Then I refreshed the homepage habitually. A headline that had just been released suddenly came into view. Lu Zhengzheng glanced at it, and suddenly felt that it was a bit early to conclude that nothing happened today. She raised her head and glanced at Sister Zixi, who was still immersed in doing questions not far away, and then looked at Su Ling'an, who was looking at the time from time to time. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. The work phone on her left hand suddenly vibrated. She looked down and saw on the screen the new note she had made 2 days ago, "Dear Sister Tong." Looking at the mobile phone on her right hand again, she had a vague guess in her heart. Asterisk. After writing the last stroke and making sure that there was no empty space, Zhang Lingzi raised her head and looked at Su Ling'an. "Anan, is it time?" "Not yet, there are still 15 minutes." Su Ling'an glanced at the pen that had been placed on the table. "Sister, I still have time to check it again." Zhang Lingzi handed over the paper with a confident expression. "No, please help me correct it." Su Ling'an smiled and then took out a red ballpoint pen from the pen bag in a serious manner. While correcting it, he said, "Sister, if you can get 90 points or above on this paper, then you will have mastered all the compulsory subjects. Then you can study the compulsory subjects too." Zhang Lingzi shook her head slightly as she cleared the table. "I think the progress is still too slow." Su Ling'an. She was silent for a while, but couldn't help but remind her, according to the normal study time, the compulsory course takes 1 semester, more than 4 months. Not to mention that my sister is still studying during her break from filming. The progress is already very fast, and the first compulsory course is to lay the foundation. The slower you learn, the more solid the foundation will be. Zhang Lingzi looked at Su Ling'an's serious face and felt dumbfounded. She really just sighed casually, and she was educated. He quickly changed the subject. "Hey, where is Zhengzheng? When did you go out?" She was too preoccupied with doing the questions to pay attention, but Su Ling'an noticed it. "Sister Zhengzheng seems to have gone out to answer the phone she just left for a while." "Then I'll go out for a walk," Zhang Lingzi said, patted Su Ling'an's shoulder and stood up. She stretched her stiff bones and walked to the lounge door and opened it. The dazzling sunlight suddenly hit our face along with a heat wave. She paused as she was about to take a step forward. When she squinted her eyes, she saw Lu Zhengzheng answering the phone under the tree in front of her. Lu Zhengzheng, who originally had his back to the lounge, turned around as if feeling something, and met Zhang Lingzi's gaze looking this way. The golden dragon embroidered on the scarlet dragon robe, under the bright sun, seems to be freed from its imprisonment, soaring into the sky and soaring into the sky. Like a person wearing a dragon robe. The originally gloomy mood was immediately washed away, and she said to Tong Yu on the other side of the phone, "Sister Tong, Sister Zixi is done." Then let her answer the phone. "Sister Zixi, Sister Tong's phone number." Zhang Lingzi took the mobile phone from Lu Zhengzheng, thought about it and returned to the lounge. "Sister Tong. I was just about to start checking for Zhang Ziu's new job, when I realized that I don't need to check anymore. The crew of The Legend of the Fallen City just sent out a promotional headline, just ask Zhengzheng to show it to you." Zhang Lingzi raised her eyebrows, turned to look at Lu Zhengzheng who came in behind her, and quickly took the second mobile phone handed over by the girl. "Welcome I Zhang Ziu to join the family of the Story of Allure, your little apprentice is here." Scroll down and the comment area has been flooded with fans of Zhang Ziu. Although she lost a lot of fans because of the previous live broadcast of Survival and because of the obvious contrast with the other two female guests. But the fan base accumulated in the past is there, and coupled with the careful maintenance of the remaining fans during this period, there are still many die-hard fans. The comment section was filled with all kinds of cheers and celebrations. "I heard that Ziu was injured while filming Empress Yuan Zhao and was still recuperating after leaving the crew. I guess the injury is not fully healed yet, and he actually joined the crew of The Legend of the Fallen City again. My sister is really strong. The crew of Empress Yuan Zhao terminated the contract because my sister was injured. It is definitely a loss to the crew. My sister plays the role of Uxian's little apprentice. I remember that the character of Uxian in the original work is a talented person but a bad person. Since childhood she can be called a representative of beauty, strength, and misfortune. It is very suitable for today's past. Occasionally I came across a question, doesn't anyone think it's strange that Zhang Ziu's resources are so good? How long has it been since the contract of Empress Yuan Zhao was terminated, and then he turned around and entered the legend of Qing Cheng? If I remember correctly, the role of Uxian in the Legend of the Fallen City was originally played by another actor? Are you sure it wasn't Zhang Ziu who pushed her away? But as soon as this comment came out, it was criticized almost immediately. There is no doubt that this netizen has been diagnosed with pink eye. Could the netizen be that actor's trumpet? It's impossible for a crew as big as The Legend of the Fallen City to change actors for no reason, unless like Lin Suifei from the previous crew of Empress Yuan Zhao, she had an accident on the show. The character design collapsed, and the crew changed actors in order to reduce the negative impact. We 11 you are kind-hearted and are still recovering at home. How could we have so much energy to squeeze out the original actor? It can only be that the director of The Legend of the Fallen City happened to find that 11U is suitable for the role of Uxian. Those who have been invited in the past can only say that our words are worth it and the pink eye will disappear soon. Lu Zhengzheng followed Zhang Lingzi to watch, and when she saw this, she opened her mouth and made a vomiting motion. This licking is too much. It's so kind-hearted that I don't even know the word. I'm afraid it's not Zhang Ziu. The fans are specially raised by the manager, which is something that most people can't boast about. Then she watched helplessly as Sister Zixi clicked on the home page of the trumpet that raised the question. Is this really the replaced actor behind this trumpet? End of this chapter. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 262. Chapter 262. Everyone has ambitions. Not necessarily. Zhang Lingzi shook her head slightly and looked through the updates posted under the account called Ayasasi. I found that the updates posted by this account are basically photos or short videos of some celebrities in the entertainment industry. The captions also say that the sister is so beautiful and cool, and that brother has great stage performance and the certain character he played is great. She is a star-chasing girl. Looking at this post, she has quite a few brothers and sisters she likes. They are definitely at the level of Neptune, Lu Zhengzheng commented and suddenly let out an oops. Sister Zixi, you are scrolling too fast, I seem to have spotted your photo just now. Zhang Lingzi pointed her fingers, and saw a hand reaching out from beside her, flipping the page up again, and soon found a photo of her. Unfortunately, it was the picture of her that was rated as the most iconic by the internet. It shows her lowering her eyes and stroking a panda cub in the jungle at night. With the text "There is a tiger in my heart, I smell the rose carefully." She raised her eyebrows slightly. This is quite interesting. It should be regarded as the comment about this photo that she has seen that best suits her mood at that time. It seems that this person named Sisi is also a fan of yours, Sister Zixi. Zhang Lingzi was not as excited as Lu Zhengzheng, and replied calmly, "You just said that she is the king of the sea, and she likes anyone who is handsome and beautiful." Lu Zhengzheng. However, Zhang Lingzi changed her voice, likes can be divided into ordinary likes and special affections. Have you noticed that pictures of individuals appear very frequently in these updates? Lu Hengzhen suddenly felt mosquito repellent in his eyes. Zhang Lingzi knew there was no need to hold out any hope as soon as she looked at her eyes, and patiently reminded her, this one, and this one, although there are close-ups, long-range shots, front faces, side faces, and even just back views, these are all it's a person. Lu Zhengzheng opened his eyes wide and looked at the pictures pointed out by Zhang Lingzi. He could barely tell that they were the same person from the front and side, but how could he tell the distance and background? Just observe carefully. Lu Zhengzheng, I'm such a waste. This Sisi must be a die-hard fan of the actor in the picture. The time span of the photos spanned several years. After Zhang Lingzi came to this conclusion, she turned her head to look at Lu Zhengzheng. You usually check your phone every day, don't you recognize it? Do you recognize this person? Lu Zhengzheng, still, I really don't have any impression. It shouldn't be very popular, because I know everyone who is popular. Go and check. Although Lu Zhengzheng was full of doubts, she still complied obediently. Sending Lu Zhengzheng aside to do some work, Zhang Lingzi put the phone that was still on the call back to her ear. Tong Yu heard the previous conversation between Zhang Lingzi and Lu Zhengzheng, and couldn't help but ask, Xiao 11, did you see something? Well, that questioning comment had a vague intention of defending the actor who was replaced, so I just made a bold guess whether he or she might be a fan of the actor who was replaced. The role of Uxin appeared in the later stage. No one really paid attention to it before. It didn't even announce who would play it in advance. I didn't expect that now because Zhang Ziyu was cast as the role, the popularity has increased. Don't talk about you, I also feel something is wrong. It feels very deliberate. Yes, is it possible that Zhang Ziyu is deliberately building publicity for Zhang Ziyu? I am also confused. The company Zhang Ziyu works in is not much higher than our company. How did she get this role? Zhang Lingzi now has some doubts about the legend of the fallen city. Would the director of the crew be from there? After all, it is like the crew of Empress Yuan Zhao. Director Wei Xiao has the most power, so the same should be true for other crews. The director is the first to make the decision in the crew. People. But this speculation involved those secretive magicians, and she couldn't tell Tong Yu, so she fell silent. Fortunately, Tong Yu couldn't help but express her doubts. She didn't even know something. Her own artists stayed on the set filming all day long, so the possibility of knowing the secrets was even smaller. This Zhang Ziyu is indeed a bit evil. Even if you don't say it now, I will continue to pay attention. It would be bad if she affects you. Tong Yu still hates Zhang Ziyu's title of Little Zhang Lingzi. He was worried about it, and now he is even more concerned about it. By the way, I have found some clues about the motives of Jing Huai and his manager Li Yuan in the past 2 days, but I am not sure if it is related. You say. For the next chapter of calligraphy and painting to be recorded in Legendary, there is news that the famous contemporary calligrapher and painter Mr. Li Wangxuan, who is also the wife of Mr. Shi you met before, may be invited. The couple also has a more famous one. The son has neither inherited his father's talent for Go nor his talent for calligraphy and painting, but his name is Shi Chungrui. This name sounds very common but also very auspicious. Zhang Lingzi really knows it. The boss of the largest visual effects company in China, and also a world-class science fiction director. I don't know if it's because both his parents are great masters in their respective fields of traditional arts, and the artistic atmosphere in the family is too strong. This guy directly rebelled and specialized in science fiction that has nothing to do with traditional arts. But this kind of research has really yielded quite a lot of achievements. Originally, none of the domestic science fiction movies could compete with foreign ones, but that was before Shi Chungrui's film and special effects team came into being. Now when people mention Shi Chungrui, one of the most common comments is, he is the talent who made the domestic science fiction genre rise. So, Jing Huai wants to use the legend of the legend as a springboard to get in touch with Shi Chungrui through Mr. Li. That's what I guessed too. I also heard that Shi Chungrui may collaborate with a famous international director on an international science fiction blockbuster, which will be released simultaneously around the world. If Jing Huai and that Li Yuan really have such a plan, then their ambitions are really not small. As long as they can get Mr. Li's appreciation on the show and get in touch with Shi Chungrui, then they will not lose anything if they are willing to exchange two resources. After all, she hadn't dared to think about it. For such a big international movie, the actors to be hired were all superstars. Even domestic top-tier actors like Su Qingmei will most likely only be able to play supporting roles. It's not that she's self-deprecating. If her own artists were to leave, they probably wouldn't even be able to be chosen as cannon fodder. Xiao 11, what do you think? What do you think, Sister Tong? Me, my thinking is quite pragmatic. Anyway, we can't afford such a big project now, so why not fulfill Jing Huai and Li Yuan's ambitions in exchange for two real resources that they can get their hands on? Besides, even if Jing Huai can appear on the show Heritage, he may not be favored by Mr. Li. There was no sound from the phone for a while, and Tong Yu paused, but if you don't, Xiao 11. If you are willing to ask for favors from Mr. Shi for this matter, I will refuse Li Yuan and respect your choice. Refuse, in addition, I want to take part in heritage painting and calligraphy. Tong Yu. She couldn't help but hold her heart that started to pound. I know you can calligraphy, don't tell me you can also calligraphy and painting. Zhang Lingzi hummed lightly, Jing Huai has this ambition. I don't think I'm any worse than him. Why can't I have it? What she likes to do most is to make the impossible possible. Tong Yu opened her mouth, not knowing what to say for a while. They can only speculate on the purpose behind Jing Huai and Li Yuan's participation in the show, but their own artists really dare to think about it. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 263. Chapter 263. Let's get together. Hang up Tong Yu's call, Zhang Lingzi walked to Lu Zhengzhen with her cell phone. Have you found it? Yeah. Lu Zhengzhen nodded while flipping the laptop screen in front of her to face Zhang Lingzi. The actor's name is USI, but the searched information shows that she has not signed a contract with any agency. I think she is an individual actor. It has been 6 or 7 years since she debuted, and she has acted in many TV series and movies, many of which are popular. But the strange thing is that I have no impression of her. Isn't the celebrity in the drama that Sister Tong said popular? It seems to be the case. Sister Zixi, look, I even went to her account homepage to check it out. She only has less than 1 million fans after 6 or 7 years of debut. She doesn't have much business at first glance. She should be the kind of person who just treats actors, think of it as a career. It's rare to have a die-hard fan like Ayasasi. Zhang Lingzi took Lu Zhenzhen's mouse and slid it down, finally stopping on a post posted some time ago. I have a new job, happy. However, we need to experience in advance what it feels like to be unable to walk. Should we buy a wheelchair at our own expense and try it out first? The accompanying picture is a simple landscape photo. There is a black roof between the dark green tree shadows, and the sky is bright and clear. It is like the state of mind of the owner who posted the news at that time. Lu Zhengzheng also looked at the computer screen, and his eyes widened when he saw the photo. This photo looks like it was taken in the Imperial City Film and Television City. During this period, they have been filming in the Imperial City Film and Television City. It can be said that they have almost visited the entire Fanyanhe Palace. Lu Zhengzheng felt that she could be a guest tour guide when she was fine. Wait a minute, this situation means that there is a new job, or it is the kind that is not good at acting. Could it be that this USI is the actor who was squeezed out by Zhang Ziyu? After finishing speaking, Lu Zhengzheng raised his head and met the eyes of his sister Zixi, and inexplicably understood the meaning of this look. His brain was suddenly enlightened. Lu Zhengzheng. She has already been reminded. If she still can't guess it, she really needs to improve her IQ. However, can I also improve my IQ? This USI is also unlucky. She may have even bought a wheelchair. Now the money seems to have been wasted. However, they are so dedicated. Why did the director of The Legend of the Fallen give the role to Zhang Ziyu? Is it possible that Zhang Ziyu's broken leg fits the character better? If you are curious, you might just ask the owner. Before Lu Zhengzheng understood the meaning of Zhang Lingzi's words, she saw her holding the mouse and clicking on the private message, then typing in the dialog box, "Sisi, I was still waiting for you to play Uxin, why did you suddenly change it to Zhang Ziyu? I don't like Zhang Ziyu, I just want you to act." A sentence followed by 3 tildes made Lu Zhengzheng stunned for a moment. He opened his mouth and asked subconsciously, "Sister Zixi, when did you become a fan of USI?" Just now Zhang Lingzi saw that the private message had not been read yet, stood up and told Lu Zhengzheng, "Don't lose this account yet, pay attention to the private message and see if USI will reply." "Oh, okay." Lu Zhengzheng nodded subconsciously, then turned to look at the figure walking towards Su Ling'an, then looked back at the private message that had just been sent on the computer screen, and felt that there was something wrong in the cloud. In the fog. Why does she feel that Sister Zixi suddenly pays so much attention to Zhang Ziyu? Did something happen that she didn't know about? Asterisk. Zhang Lingzi walked to the seat where she had been doing papers and sat down. "Have you finished grading?" "Well, congratulations to sister for successfully advancing to the next level." Su Ling'an handed over the paper full of red ticks. "Except for the penultimate big question, I missed a small step, but the final result is correct, and the other answers are also correct." "All correct." Zhang Lingzi first glanced at the bright red 98 points in the upper right corner of the paper, then turned the paper to the penultimate question, and saw that Su Ling'an had added the steps she had missed with a red pen. She looked at it carefully for a few seconds and admitted her mistake sincerely, "It was my negligence." Su Ling'an also laid out the score of the little teacher with a serious face. "Student Zhang will have to be more careful in the future." "Yeah, well, learn your lesson. I'll check it again next time and try to get full marks." Lu Zhengzheng, who was listening to the conversation between the two, said. Facing 2 top students at once, she was so out of place as a bad student. Fortunately, someone knocked on the door soon. "Is Teacher Zhang here?" "The scene has been set up. The director asked me to go over and shoot the second scene today." "Okay, here we go." Zhang Lingzi asked Lu Zhengzheng to put her papers away, then strode out the door. Su Ling'an was waiting for Lu Zhengzheng to pack her things, and the two of them were one step behind. "Anan, do you think I can pass the broker qualification exam if I sign up now?" Sister Zixi is so busy and is preparing to take the college entrance examination next year. She is busy doing papers during the break. You are the top scorer in the college entrance examination and you read some books every day that I can't even read the titles. Now I read you and Zixi every day. Sister works so hard and feels that she is so depraved. Su Ling'an, well, welcome to join the study group. At the set, Lu Zhengzheng and other actors' assistants sat under an umbrella, took out their mobile phones and silently ordered a set of preparation materials for the agent qualification certificate. Although she is a poor student, she still has dreams. And now he is still under the shadow of two academic gods, so he should be able to pass the exam. Asterisk. The other side. Although Xiao Tao hasn't come back yet, Zhang Ziyu can't wait to join the group. But she joined the crew while they were filming. Apart from a welcome on the official account, there was no substantial welcome ceremony. Even when she was being pushed in a wheelchair to see the director, Lin Ying didn't even put down the loudspeaker she was using to shout. She just looked over and waved her hand, "Go put on makeup and change clothes first. I'll put on the jade this morning. I took Xian's makeup photos." Facing such lukewarm treatment, Zhang Ziyu almost couldn't control the shock on his face. It was obviously Lin Ying who called her personally to ask her to play this role. She even heard that the crew kicked out all the actors who originally played Xian because of this. Why did she have this attitude when they met? The coldness that was completely different from the warm welcome she originally imagined made Zhang Ziyu's heart beat a little erratically, and the words stuck in her throat. But she didn't dare to ask anything, so she could only smile and let the crew lead the way to the dressing room. Fortunately, the dressing room was separate, which made her feel somewhat calmer. The crew of Empress Yuanzhao next door has several leading actors and only one dressing room. When Zhang Yuding, who had come with the crew to help her with the relationship, came over, Zhang Ziyu immediately turned cold and said, "What do you mean by Lin Ying? It was obviously him who invited me to come over for filming. I didn't even care about the injury on my leg. Bian Dian came to the set the next day. Why was he so cold to me when we met?" Zhang Yuding and Zhang Ziyubing went in two separate ways to order cold drinks for everyone in the crew. After the cold drinks were delivered, she asked the assistant who brought them to help distribute them and then came directly to Zhang Ziyu. She really didn't know what Zhang Ziyu and Zhang Ziyu were. Lin Ying was stunned when he heard what happened when they met just now, aloof. It's probably innate. If he doesn't like you, how could he be willing to pay the price to replace the original actor for you? Let me see. You just think too much. Hearing Zhang Yuding's subconscious guess, Zhang Ziyu's heart skipped a beat. She was complimented by Zhang Yuding before, so she just took it for granted that she was more suitable for the role of Xian, but selectively forgot that this job was probably arranged for her by the person who answered her phone before. So when Lin Ying chose to use her, was he forced to obey, and was he actually unwilling to do so? If the director doesn't like it, how can she still get along on the set? End of this chapter. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 264. Chapter 264. You pretend and I pretend too. It was very hot in the studio, especially Zhang Ziyu, who was illuminated by two spotlights on the left and right. Coupled with the layers of costumes wrapped around her body, she felt like she was about to smoke. Unexpectedly, the photographer was still holding the camera and giving instructions non-stop. "Teacher Zhang, your expression looks a bit stiff. It would be better to be more natural. Teacher Zhang, please tidy up your clothes, they look a bit messy. Teacher Zhang." Zhang Ziyu finally couldn't help but get angry. She was already in a bad mood. Ever since she thought that Lin Ying might really be unhappy with her, she had been racking her brains to think of how to make this man change his attitude towards her, but, the sound in her ears kept buzzing, making it impossible for her to calm down. "Just a final makeup photo. Teacher Su, you are here. Teacher Su, I have a small fan here for you to use. Zhang Ziyu's voice stopped suddenly, and he suddenly raised his head to look at the figure that was coming from behind. Even the cameraman who had been chattering in front of her stopped filming and greeted Su Qingmei respectfully. Zhang Ziyu couldn't help but lower his eyes, holding back the envy and jealousy in his heart. God knows how much she wants to be someone like Su Qingmei. No matter where she goes, she will always receive looks of admiration and love. Whatever she wants, someone will hand it to her with raised hands without having to say it. When filming, she must be the heroine, and when she walks on the red carpet, she must be the finale. His fame was at the height of his popularity, and it seemed he would always be there. But the reality is that she is sitting in front of the spotlight at the moment, but everyone in the studio crowded around Su Qingmei to say hello and get close to her, as if they had suddenly forgotten her existence. Such an obvious contrast made her feel burning in her heart. Hands on his knees tightly grasped the costume, grabbing the folds without even realizing it. Although Zhang Ziyu's eyes were covered by her lowered eyes for just a moment, Su Qingmei came here because she wanted to see how she fell in love with that person, so she naturally caught such an unwilling look. She still had a gentle smile on her face, but underneath she was smiling contemptuously. That man's vision is getting worse and worse. But it's okay, with Zhang Ziyu's superficial, vain, and poorly disguised character, even if he was chosen by that person, he would probably be just a tool. She really couldn't see how this person could be a threat, his rank was really too low. Although the person was worse than she imagined, which made her less and less interested, but now that she was here, she still had to do some superficial work. Su Qingmei was surrounded and walked up to Zhang Ziyu. Is this my little Yuxin apprentice? Hello, Teacher Su. Zhang Ziyu raised his head to look at Su Qingmei, with complete admiration and joy on his face. The last time we said goodbye, I didn't expect that one day I would be able to act with you, Teacher Su. In the future, on the crew, I hope Teacher Su can give me more advice. Last time, Su Qingmei had a real look of confusion on her face. But in Zhang Ziyu's eyes, she held on to the costume a little tighter. I was walking a little too fast and accidentally hit Teacher Su's arm. Su Qingmei then remembered, it's just such a thing, I've forgotten it. This is true. Before hearing the name Zhang Ziyu from that person, she really had no impression of such an insignificant little actor, because there was no need to remember it at all. Teacher Su has always had a good temper. Yes, someone accidentally spilled water on Teacher Su before, and Teacher Su reminded him to be careful when walking. Jiangzi language. She thought she was good at pretending, but she didn't expect that the person in front of her could pretend better than her. Why is it so difficult to keep smiling? After Su Qingmei left, the makeup photo shoot continued. Zhang Ziyu sat there for almost half an hour. When he felt that the skin on his face was about to peel off, he finally heard a voice, "That's it? Quick, push me to the restroom, I want to drink water." Lin Ying on the other side also quickly received the final makeup photo from the photographer. She clicked it and looked at it for a moment and frowned. Didn't Teacher Su say that this final makeup photo must be taken well and strive for excellence? It took almost an entire morning. Take a picture like this. After speaking, he couldn't help but murmured in a low voice, "This is it, it's not as good as the one I took before." I don't know what Su Qingmei thought about recommending such a person. But no matter how dissatisfied he was, he had to endure the filming. He couldn't stop Su Qingmei's decision, but he could still do it without giving Zhang Ziyu any good looks. Unless Zhang Ziyu's acting skills surpass those of USI. The makeup photos will be taken in the morning, and the formal shooting will begin in the afternoon. Zhang Ziyu's first scene was opposite Su Qingmei. After all, she plays the role of the heroine's apprentice, and the most scenes she plays on the set are opposite the heroine. Zhang Ziyu was quite excited when he first came on stage. She had never thought about being able to film in the same scene as Su Qingmei before. This experience will be written into her resume as an actor, and her future acting career will be much smoother. But after being NGED several times in succession, I listened to Lin Ying's more and more irritable reprimands. He even said, "Your face is as stiff as a stone," after words such as "I can't remember a few words, what's wrong with your brain," came up. Zhang Ziyu wanted to make Lin Ying die violently on the spot. This is directed at her, absolutely directed at her. Fortunately, the only thing that comforted her was that Su Qingmei stayed with her, but there was no trace of impatience on her face. She even helped her talk to Lin Ying. "Director, Xiao has just arrived, and the other actors in the crew still don't recognize her. And now he's acting directly against me, so he must be nervous. To make a fool feel grateful to you, you only need to drive the other person to the point of collapse before releasing his kindness." She couldn't be more skilled at doing this kind of thing. Lin Ying put down the loudspeaker angrily, "Take a rest for 20 minutes before continuing to shoot." Zhang Ziyu is not sure whether Su Qingmei, who can speak for her, is also pretending to be generous, but since the other party wants to show friendliness to her, a junior, then don't blame her for climbing up the ladder. She couldn't let Lin Ying keep targeting her like this. Since the director was hard to please, it would be a good idea to take this opportunity to get close to Su Qingmei. Maybe after filming this movie, her relationship with Su Qingmei would become closer, and she could use Su Qingmei to receive what about other good scripts? The two of them sat and stood, smiling tenderly at each other the moment they looked at each other, hiding the calculation in their eyes. Asterisk. The other side. Yu Saiwo is in the small apartment she bought with a loan in the imperial capital. She is looking through the channels she gained from filming in the past few years to see if there are any jobs suitable for her in the near future. Although she was threatened overtly or covertly to leave the crew of The Legend of the Fallen City, fortunately, she signed a contract before and she received a liquidated damages even if she left. But it's not her character to just sit back and take the cake. She also enjoys the process of filming. If there are other opportunities, she would naturally want to try it. Looking around, she didn't find anything suitable. She was not in a hurry. After receiving a message from her friend who was also resting at home about a dinner date, she was in a good mood, put on makeup and changed into a dress she liked and went to accept the invitation. As a result, as soon as the two of them met, they looked into the eyes of their best friend and said, "I said your character can't help me improve. If The Legend of the Fallen hadn't posted an update today, I wouldn't have known what Zhang Ziyu had done. You've stolen the role, what's going on? Why is Zhang Ziyu so cute?" End of this chapter. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 265. Chapter 265. This circle does not allow contentment with the world. Now when she heard the words "The Legend of the City," USI wanted to cover her ears. "Oh, we came out to have a meal happily, can we not mention the disappointing things?" The person in front of me couldn't help but snorted coldly, "Thankfully you know how to spoil the fun. I thought you didn't care at all. I have told you to sign a company a long time ago. Although you are not as free as you are now, but when you encounter this kind of anyway, the company will support you." "It's useless even if the company supports me in this matter," USI murmured, took the lemon tea that Su Miao handed over angrily and took a sip. The cold gulp made her think. Ji Ling said, "Wait a minute, did you just say that the person who stole my role was Zhang Ziyu? You haven't read today's hot searches, have you?" Su Miao stared at this friend who seemed to be isolated from the world as soon as he left the crew. The official account of The Legend of the Fallen City was just posted today. New news, although no final makeup photos have been released, it's is Zhang Ziyu. When she said this, she felt a little sorry for her friend. "I think your acting skills are much better than that Zhang Ziyu. If you lose, you will lose because you don't have a company to help you and grab resources from behind. Now it's better, your wheelchair was also bought for nothing." I've gone to a second-hand website to exchange money USI said, taking out her phone and clicking on the hot search list. It didn't take much effort to see a hot search that was rising in real time. Hashtag. Clicking on it was the update posted by the official account of The Legend of the Fallen City. USI couldn't help but pursed her lips after reading it. She was called to the waiting room of the lead actor Soo King-mei when the announcement for the role of UXIN had already begun. At that time, she had already memorized all of UXIN's lines. She thought she was called away by Soo King-mei's assistant because Soo King-mei wanted to ask her to review the scene in advance. After all, UXIN was the heroine's apprentice, and the scenes were basically with the heroine. Mainly related. But when she arrived at Soo King-mei's lounge, she didn't even see Soo King-mei's face. She was treated hard and soft by the so-called gold medal assistant next to him, half tempting and half threatening. Finally, she nodded and agreed to give up the role of UXIN. Leave the set. So what if I don't feel like it? During the past few days after joining the crew, she watched Soo King-mei put actors into the crew one after another. Even if director Lin didn't agree at first, he later recognized it with his nose. This also made her realize that in the crew of The Legend of the Fallen City, the director does not have the greatest power. It is not an exaggeration to say that Soo King-mei's world is here. Even if she successfully resisted the threats and inducements this time, as long as she remained in the crew, Soo King-mei would have many ways to force her away. It would just take more time and effort. She is a little actor who is not even considered second tier and is only hovering on the edge of third tier. How can she find the energy to go head-to-head with Soo King-mei, a top-tier actress with an international reputation? Therefore, she accepted this offer and threat very wisely. It's just that she thought that the one who would take the top position this time was still an actor from Soo King-mei's studio, but she didn't expect that it would be Zhang Ziyu, the actor who debuted under the name Xiao Zhang Lingzi. The other party is indeed more famous than her, but why would Soo King-mei force her to leave for this person? She has been in this circle for a long time, and she didn't expect that these two seemingly incomparable people would still have friendship. You see, Soo Miao sighed, reaching out and patting her friend's shoulder sincerely. When I was scrolling through the comments, I saw that a handful of your fans were fighting for you, but they were all suppressed. I feel 9 times out of 10, these hot searches are for buying, and there are many professional fans who are not real fans of Zhang Ziyu, but this popularity has really increased. Well, the world is really like this. Those who are serious about filming have no chance to film, and those who only know about marketing can make a lot of money. Who can explain this? Yusi's eyebrows moved when she heard that some fans were fighting for her. Her actor account was registered when she debuted. Since she has never signed a contract with a company, she naturally manages this account herself. What I share above are some of my daily life. Apart from being certified by an actor, the content under the account is no different from ordinary people. To put it simply, it is down to earth. However, in the 6 or 7 years since her debut, she has appeared in various major drama crews and played many roles. Some of the more important roles have even appeared on popular variety shows with other leading actors in the crew. After a few years of accumulation, she has a group of fans. Of course, she can't compare with those big stars who easily earn tens of millions. It's better than being stable, because they basically follow her based on the roles she plays. She doesn't interact much with these fans usually. She only sends updates to remind her when the drama she stars in is about to be released. If there are comments from fans, she picks some and responds personally. She doesn't ask her fans to create a group for her, and her fans don't force her to work hard to improve her career. If there is a word to describe her relationship with her fans, USI thinks that the years are quiet and good, which is quite suitable. So she didn't expect that her group of fans, who have always been unknown, would speak out under the hot search headlines to express their grievances. Meow meow, tell me, am I particularly unmotivated? Not only are you unmotivated, You are simply out of touch with the world, Su Miao. I corrected her. Sometimes I wonder why you like acting. I still remember someone saying this. If you don't like fame and fortune, why go to the entertainment industry? Do you think this statement holds true for you? I frowned and retorted lightly, I just like acting. As for the other things, I just find it tiring and troublesome. But the premise is that we have the ability to keep our roles, just like this time. Don't blame me for being blunt. Su Miao straightened her face and said seriously, look, you don't come from a prominent family and just want to entertain. As a young lady who wants to experience life in the circle, if you don't do it because it's tiring and troublesome, then you can only watch the role that originally belongs to you being taken away. This is not tiring and troublesome, but it will also happen. Are you unwilling? I was silenced by the words, and finally nodded honestly, I am indeed a little unwilling. It seems that you have listened to what I said today. Su Miao expressed her relief. Anyway, think about it carefully. Before sitting back on the opposite side, she inadvertently glanced at the mobile phone screen in UC's hand. Hey, someone else sent you a private message. It's probably a fan who came to comfort you. Please open it quickly and take a look. Probably not. I have a tacit understanding with my fans. They usually don't send me private messages after all. I clicked on the private message. After reading the content of the private message, stunned. Su Miao also read the content of the private message and said, wow, I remember you didn't say directly on the public platform that you wanted to play Uxin in The Legend of the Fallen City. You can guess this. You are definitely a senior fan. Maybe she is among the fans who are fighting for you under the hot search entries. Hurry up, please reply to me quickly, and don't dampen your enthusiasm as a senior fan. Yin clicked on the reply box and paused when she was about to type. How will she reply? You can't just say that you were forced to leave by the actress who played the heroine in The Crew. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 266. Chapter 266 Explanation of Doubts. I replied, Sister Zixi. The other party replied to the private message, and actually replied. From day to night, Lu Zhengzheng had given up all hope. At this moment, she just refreshed the homepage out of habit after getting her meal, and saw an eye-catching little red dot in the private message column. When he saw Zhang Lingzi coming in from the door, he immediately shouted. What private message? Wei Minmin poked his head out from behind Zhang Lingzi. Zhang Lingzi reached out and pushed her head back, then took the mobile phone from Lu Zhengzheng. The private message dialog box has been opened, and she lowered her eyes and saw the reply from the other party, just 3 minutes ago. I am disappointed. It is true that I had to quit the crew due to some reasons. Now that the role of Yuxin has been played by a new actor, I probably won't go back. I am currently looking for new opportunities, so stay tuned. An unsurprising reply. She calmly opened the dialog box and continued typing. Did Zhang Ziyu bring the money to join the group, or was it appointed by the director or screenwriter? When Jagaga came up, I had already eaten hot pot with Su Miao. When she lowered her head, she saw another private message with red dots on the screen of her phone. She hesitated before replying, none of them. Zhang Lingzi couldn't help but raise her eyebrows when she received this simple reply just after taking the chopsticks from Lu Zhengzheng. Since it's not the case, then who arranged Zhang Ziyu to join the crew? Besides the investors, directors, and screenwriters, who else on the crew has such great power? She looked up and saw Wei Minmin had sat opposite her and was happily getting ready to start. Minmin, can you let our crew change actors? Wei Minmin was stunned when asked, Her chopsticks paused in the air. Who do you want to change? You can do it. Me? I can't. Wei Minmin quickly waved her hand. I am only the second female lead. Even if the director is my brother-in-law, I can't change this actor if I want. Otherwise, I would have proposed to replace Lin Shui early in the morning. Fei and Zhang Ziyu have been replaced, so there won't be so many things to do next. Besides, it's been so long since we started filming, how can we change actors whenever we want? However, she said and changed her voice, if Sister 11, the leading actor, goes to my uncle to suggest changing actors, and if there are enough reasons to convince him, I think my uncle will seriously consider it. After all, on the set, generally speaking, the female lead's power is second only to the director. Oh. Afraid that Zhang Lingzi would not have the confidence, Wei Minmin patted her shoulder across the small square table and said, Sister 11, be confident, you are the soul of our drama. Any other actor can play the role, but as long as I am not right with you, if there is a show, the only person who will be replaced is the other party. It's like the movie The Legend of the Fallen City Next Door to Us, Wei Minmin said with a hint of sarcasm. You probably don't know, but I heard that Su Qingmei put a lot of actors from her own studio into her crew. Even if the director is dissatisfied, he can only accept it with gritted teeth. After all, this drama relies on the heroine Su Qingmei to take the lead, so what if he is dissatisfied? However, I still think that director Lin is a bit coward. It's his crew, it's better to say it's Su Qingmei's. Zhang Lingzi was listening thoughtfully, but Wei Minmin had not forgotten her initial curiosity. By the way, Sister 11, you haven't said who you want to replace yet. I don't want to replace anyone. Zhang Lingzi shook her head at her and smiled. I think the actors on the crew are pretty good now, so I just asked casually. Wei Minmin, there is no one, so why did you scare me? She continued to start heartlessly, but Su Linggan, who was sitting aside, looked at Wei Minmin who was engrossed in eating, and then looked at her sister, with a deep thought flashing in her eyes. Zhang Lingzi opened the private message dialog box with USI and typed, "It can't be Su, right?" with a curious expression. Yuxi's hands shook when she saw this private message, and she almost threw her phone into the Zhigong grid. Even though it was just a vague pinyin, she knew who her fan wanted to ask at a glance, but her guess was too accurate. Is it possible that there are fans who like her among the crew of The Legend of the Fallen City? After all, she was called away by Su Qingmei's assistant that day, and someone on the crew saw her. She terminated her contract the next day. No one guessed that her termination had something to do with Su Qingmei. This time she hesitated longer, so long that Su Miao couldn't help but remind her that the duck intestines in the pot were too hot. Zhang Lingzi put down her phone and said, "Eve. We haven't finished work yet after dinner, there are 2 night plays tonight." There was no notice to gather, and several people stayed in the lounge after finishing their meal. Wei Minmin was rejected when her invitation to form a team to play games was rejected. She put on her headphones depressingly and ran to the corner to find someone to play with. Zhang Lingzi completed the homework assigned to her by Su Linggan. As soon as she picked up her phone, she saw that Mr. Shi had sent her an invitation. When she got curious, she went in and found out that it was a small program that allowed her to play Go online. She could choose an opponent or play against a computer. If you don't want to play, you can click into other users' rooms to watch the game. She guessed that the old man wanted to play a game of chess online with her, but she didn't reply for a long time, so Mr. Shi started a game with others. Clicking into the room, the black and white chess pieces on the chessboard had occupied almost half of the positions. Zhang Lingzi could tell at a glance that the two were evenly matched. It seemed that Shi Lao's opponent was also quite strong. She did not quit and continued to watch with interest. Until another message appears at the top of the phone screen. "You've returned, are you still busy?" Zhang Lingzi reduced the size of the chessboard, clicked on Shen Yunqing's profile picture and replied, There are 2 night plays tonight. I just finished dinner and I'm still waiting. What about you? Just got off the plane. Haven't had dinner yet. No. Then go back and eat first, and we'll chat when you have time after dinner. I've also made new progress in the investigation here. Shen Yunqing read the first sentence of this message twice, his eyebrows became softer and softer. Okay, if it's too late, just call it a day and go back to rest. I'll go to the set tomorrow. Airport. Xiao Tao looked at the figure in front of him, who turned on his cell phone as soon as he got off the plane and looked at it while walking. She could tell that this person was probably chatting with someone on his cell phone, so she didn't dare to disturb him. It's hard to avoid being a little curious. She had been used to seeing Mr. Shen's cold and motionless appearance in the past 2 days. She thought he would always be like this to everyone, but she didn't expect to see him so cold and completely gone now. And added a bit of gentleness. She couldn't help but wonder, who was chatting with Mr. Shen now? Waiting until she saw Shen Yunqing put down her phone, she took a few steps forward and said, "Mr. Shen, thank you for taking care of me these 2 days. I will go back now." Shen Yunqing nodded slightly. "I'll ask the driver to take you off." No, 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 no need." Xiao Tao waved her hand quickly. "I'll just take a taxi." "Well, be safe. Mr. Xiechen reminded me, I will do it." Watching the slender figure get into the commercial car that came to pick him up, Xiao Tao breathed a sigh of relief. Although she did feel safe being with Mr. Shen, she was also really nervous. "I was embarrassed to even doze off on the plane. It was the first time in my life that I sat in a spacious and comfortable business seat. I sat upright without daring to move the whole way." Standing in front of the stopped taxi, Xiao Tao took a deep breath before opening the door and getting in. Looking at the rapidly reversing scenery outside the car window, she slightly curled her lips. "Zhang Ziyu, I'm back, are you ready?" End of this chapter. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 267. Chapter 267, Being Drawn into the Go Association. Little friend Zhang is here. Going back to the mini program for watching the game, Zhang Lingzi found a bubble-shaped dialogue box under the chessboard. Mr. Shi had just greeted her. Finding a place where she could reply, she typed, "I was delayed by something just now, so I saw your message, Mr. Shi." Old Shi sent another voice message. Zhang Lingzi opened it and heard the old man's hearty voice, "It's okay, it's okay. I know you are busy filming over there. Let's play chess together when we have time. I am sending you this invitation because I want to talk to you. Tell me, even if we can't meet each other in the future, you can still play Go on your mobile phone. This small program developed can only be used by internal staff of the Domestic Go Association, so I helped you apply for a membership of the association. You don't mind, Zhang Xiao?" "Of course I don't mind." Another voice message appeared in the dialog box. When Zhang Lingzi opened it, she heard another voice that did not belong to Old Shi. "Old Shi has mentioned to me many times this time, little friend Zhang, that you are playing chess with Zhang Lingzi. I've also watched that video. It's pretty good. I'm so awesome. Zhang Xiao, please add me as a friend. Let's play a game if you have time." Just by the other party's voice and the fact that he can directly call him Old Man Shi, it can be seen that he is another old man. Zhang Lingzi had no reason to refuse, so she quickly typed a reply, "I'll add you." "Haha, Xiao Zhang is so cool, just click on my avatar, and I will click through after finishing the game." Zhang Lingzi went to click on Add Friends and came back to continue watching the entanglement between the black and white chess pieces. Until Mr. Shi sent another voice message, "Little friend Zhang, the old man Li who is playing against me has a treacherous chess style, which just defeats your grand and upright chess style. You have to be careful when playing with him. Don't be dragged into the trap by him." Zhang Lingzi had a smile on her lips and replied, I can see it. At her current level, you can basically tell what kind of chess style a person plays by just watching one game. Of course there are exceptions. Elder sister. Zhang Lingzi looked up and saw that everyone in the lounge had stood up, and there were also crew members standing outside the door who came to call for them. Mr. Shi, Mr. Li, I'm going to film a movie, let's talk when we have time. Okay, let's go get busy. We two old guys usually have nothing to do and are basically online during the day. It showed that Zhang Lingzi had withdrawn from watching the match. Mr. Shi, who was lying on the massage chair at home, suddenly slapped his forehead and said, look at my brain, there is something else I forgot to tell that girl. An old lady wearing a graceful cheongsam seemed to be soaked in the fragrance of ink came out of the study nearby. She looked up and saw her husband hitting herself stupidly. She immediately rolled her eyes elegantly and said, what are you doing, stupid? It's true that the older you get, the more naive you become. Mr. Shi coughed lightly and said, Wangsuan, have you finished practicing your calligraphy today? Yeah. Without the cover of her arm, Li Wangsuan saw the mobile phone in her husband's other hand and frowned. I remember you were holding the mobile phone when I entered the study to practice calligraphy. Why are you doing this? Are you still holding onto your phone? Have you forgotten that your eyes were dry and dazzled a few days ago, and you went to the hospital to get eye drops? I'm playing chess with old man Li. The game is almost over. It will be over soon. He dodged his wife's hand that reached out to grab the phone with a flattering look on his face. I'll be obedient and turn off the phone after I finish the game. By the way, do you remember what I told you about Zhang Xiao? Li Wangsuan walked to another empty massage chair next to her and sat down. She hummed when she heard this and said, that little girl is better at Go than Xiaoying. Shi Lao clicked on the screen and dropped a piece, and said, I dragged that kid to the Go Association. Li Wangsuan then turned her head and glanced over. If I remember correctly, there are only these places left for you to recommend for membership this year. If you just gave it to that girl without saying a word, aren't you afraid that others will feel unfair? They have nothing to complain about. I give it to Zhang Xiao. I naturally think she deserves it. If anyone doesn't accept it, come and fight. Li Wangsuan raised her eyebrows at his irrefutable aura. It's rare to see our president Xi think so highly of a junior, so I'm a little curious about that girl. That girl is still filming now and is very busy. Even if you are curious, I may not be able to make an appointment. I just forgot to tell her that I wanted to get her into the group of our Go Association. What's the point of that? She can also see event notifications. Can't we just pull him in directly? The key point is that this girl is still a celebrity. Don't they say that celebrities' privacy is very important? It would be troublesome to accidentally leak it. I thought it would be better to inform them in advance. That's true. If you're a celebrity, you can be considered the face of the Go Association, right? No, little friend Zhang is not only good at Go, but also very handsome. Facing his wife's smiling face, Mr. Shi's desire for survival exploded. I don't know if I have a boyfriend or not. I think we can introduce our eldest grandson to him. She knows him. Li Wangsuan thought about what Guanying would say to her every time he came to the house, so she thought about it and said, that guy doesn't have a definite idea, so don't trick the girl. Without even thinking about it, Mr. Shi said, for someone like Shiki, little friend Zhang may not be able to like him. Li Wangsuan. Asterisk. A high-end Japanese restaurant near Shaw Brothers Entertainment. Tong Yu was cordially invited into one of the small boxes by Li Yuan. Li Yuan poured a glass of sake and held it in front of Tong Yu with both hands. I wonder how Sister Tong has considered the proposal I made 2 days ago. She has been patiently waiting for a reply these past 2 days, but today she really couldn't wait any longer. Jing Huai has already told her that the senior is not willing to help. They only have one channel through which they can go now, Tong Yu. Tong Yu was stable enough this time, but she couldn't. Seeing that Tong Yu still lowered her eyes and remained silent as she took the wine glass, Li Yuan's voice became a little more urgent. Does Sister Tong still have any concerns? The conditions I gave should not be low for Zhang Lingzi under your command, Sister Tong. As for the invitation card for the International Fashion Festival, Zhang Lingzi currently has little status in the fashion circle. You can't buy this spot even if you want to, but with this opportunity, she can step into the fashion circle. It's a bit too much to say that you have stepped into the fashion industry. Tong Yu put down the wine glass in her hand and did not drink the wine. I'm sorry, Yuan, I discussed it with Zioxi and decided to refuse. Li Yuan couldn't help but pick his ears. Did you just say no? Well, you heard that right. If you want to be on Heritage, I suggest you go to the program team to sign up. Didn't you say before that Jing Huai studied under a master of calligraphy and painting? Maybe you can get selected by signing up. Tong Yuding looking at Li Yuan's disbelieving eyes, he smiled and stood up calmly. Let's compete fairly then. My husband has cooked at home, so I won't stay. See you later. Li Yuan, what is fair competition? But when she came to her senses, Tong Yu was nowhere to be seen in the box. End of this chapter. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 268. Chapter 268 recommends fair competition. This meal of high-end Japanese food, Tong Yu didn't drink a sip of water, and Li Yuan didn't eat a morsel either. After paying the bills with a sullen face and coming out of the store, she made a phone call to Jing Huaina. But it was the assistant who answered the call. Where are the Jing Huai people? I was called by my senior to accompany me to dinner. Li Yuan took a deep breath and said, wait until he finishes eating and ask him to call me back. I try my best. As a result, the wait lasted until late at night. Sister Wen. Li Yuan immediately heard the drunkenness in Jing Huai's voice, and became angry again. How much wine have you drunk? Aren't you afraid that it will affect your work tomorrow? Senior poured me wine, so I have to drink it. Sister Wen, what do you want from me? Did Tong Yu agree to it? Li Yuan suddenly fell silent. Jing Huai has been following her for several years, and the two of them have developed some tacit understanding. Hearing the sudden silence from the microphone, the 7-point drunkenness in his head suddenly disappeared. Sister Wen. Li Yuan spoke with difficulty. Tong Yu rejected her. Before she left, she said something about fair competition. Jing Huai put the phone aside, turned on the faucet on the side and poured several handfuls of cold water on his face. His head, slightly heated by the alcohol, suddenly became more awake again. She means to let us sign up ourselves. This is the only way we can go now. Li Yuan swallowed. Jing Huai, tell me the truth, do you think your work can pass the competition? Sister Wen, I must be confident in participating in this show. I want Mr. Li to be satisfied with me, but not to make her dissatisfied with me. Jing Huai said with a wry smile, but it is fair competition. How can there be fairness in this circle? Li Yuan's heart was also tied together. It's not that they don't know that they can sign up directly on the program team's official website, but they still want to use resources in exchange for shortcuts. Even though they know this, they just want to skip the registration step and directly get the qualification to participate in the program. First of all, it saves trouble and time, and secondly, who knows what may happen during the registration process. In this circle, there are many roles that are determined by internal appointments and referrals, and even the roles that have already been decided will be replaced by related parties. This opportunity is so important that they dare not gamble without confidence that they will win. Is it really not possible at all? Li Yuan opened his mouth, holding back his heartache. It seems that Tong Yu's side really doesn't work. How about you ask that senior again? Being able to hand out invitation cards to international fashion festivals, she thought, it would be just a matter of words for the senior to appear on a domestic program like Heritage. Well, Let me ask again. Before leaving the bathroom, Jing Huai looked in the mirror in front of the sink. He had poured water on his face too quickly, and the white shirt he was wearing was already half wet and clinging tightly to his skin. There was a hair dryer at hand, but after looking at it twice, he went straight out of the bathroom. Su Qingmei was sitting on the sofa flipping through a magazine. She looked up when she heard footsteps and narrowed her eyes when she saw Jing Huai's appearance. When the others came closer and prepared to bend down, she raised her foot and put it on Jing Huai's calf. Didn't you go to answer the phone? Why did you wash your face and get your clothes like this? Sister Qingmei. Jing Huai lowered his eyes and paused in front of Su Qingmei in this wet state with a low tone. It was my agent who asked me to call her back. Do you remember what I said before about resource exchange with Zhang Lingzi? Something. Yes, I remember. Su Qingmei lifted Jing Huai's chin with her fingers, looked at the young man's pitiful expression, and said thoughtfully, is this it? We haven't reached an agreement yet. Jing Huai snorted softly. Her agent said that I should compete fairly, but in this circle, even if you have real ability, there is no fairness. Su Qingmei knew very well that most of Jing Huai's words and expressions were specially acted for her. But who told her to do this now? What's that show called? Jing Huai was stunned for a moment, then his eyes lit up quickly. Heritage. Zhang Lingzi has been there before. She went to the Go chapter of the previous issue. I heard that she was invited by Mr. Shi, the special commentator of the program team at that time. The next issue of the calligraphy and painting chapter has a special commentator, Mr. Li, who is Mr. Shi's wife. So I wanted to find a way through Zhang Lingzi. Then will she still go to the painting and calligraphy section of this issue? It's surprising that she can play chess. She can't be proficient in calligraphy and painting. That's not necessarily the case. The figure of Zhang Lingzi she saw in the parking lot that day appeared in Su Qingmei's mind. Except that she would also participate, I can't think of any reason why she would refuse you. The resources you gave to the past, as long as they are not fools, will choose to accept it, unless there is a greater benefit at hand. Jing Huai was stunned when he heard this. However, Su Qingmei didn't give him any time to think further, and put her hand on his shoulder. It's just a domestic variety show, let's see how hard it is for you. I'll find someone to ask for a special commentator position tomorrow. I'll just pick you up again. If Zhang Lingzi goes to participate in the painting and calligraphy chapter of Legendary, she will be a special commentator. We want to see what the girl's expression will be like when she sees her in the commentator's position. As for not being able to win this position, that is impossible. There is no program team that doesn't want popularity, and she brings her own popularity, so the other party will definitely not refuse to accept the olive branch she offers. Jing Huai felt that things had turned around, and he looked up at the person in front of him with a grateful face. Thank you, Sister Qingmei. Su Qingmei curled her lips and smiled, and the hand on his shoulder became heavier. The other party immediately understood. Asterisk. Xiao Tao got off the taxi and walked to the front door of the villa. What she saw was a dark villa. No one? According to Zhang Ziu's habit, even if she goes to bed at night, she will only turn off the lights in her own bedroom, and keep the lights outside and in the yard on until dawn. At this time, it is certain that there is no one. But it's such a late night and my leg is still injured. Where can I go? Between turning around to find a hotel to stay in or calling Zhang Ziu, Xiao Tao chose the latter without much hesitation. It costs money to stay in a hotel. Master Wuju has already begun to think of ways to save her mother. She also thinks that if she brings her mother to live in the imperial capital in the future, she will have to have a small house of her own, so she has to save money now. Coupled with this return, Zhang Ziu was obviously a little more scrupulous about her, and Xiao Tao felt that she could take advantage of this. So he sat on the suitcase, took out his mobile phone and dialed Zhang Ziu's number. Zhang Ziu was already getting ready to go to bed. She was able to stay up late before because she had nothing to do during the day, but today when she arrived on the set, she took makeup photos and acted with Soo King-mei. She was so busy all day long that she almost collapsed from exhaustion when she finished work. Originally, I planned to go back to a more comfortable home to rest, but now I didn't have the energy anymore, so I checked into the hotel prepared by the crew. Who is calling me at this time? Sister Xiao, this is Xiao Tao. Zhang Ziu's half-lidded eyes suddenly opened. Didn't she take a plane to visit her mother? The loudspeaker of the mobile phone was turned on, and Zhang Ziu felt that a somewhat eerie voice suddenly sounded in the small room. Sister Xiao, I came back by plane after visiting my mother. Why is there no one in the villa? Are you not at home? Why did you come back so soon? Why didn't you stay a few more days? What's wrong with this? I'm your assistant. I have to come back and take good care of you. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 269. Chapter 269. Soo King-mei is also one of theirs. Zhang Ziu laughed dryly and wanted to say that I don't need your care now, but then he heard Xiao Tao's voice coming from the phone receiver. Sister Xiao, where are you now? I'll go find you right now. Zhang Ziu almost heard I'm going to kill you right away for a moment, and he couldn't help but shiver in the hot weather. If possible, she even wanted to fire Xiao Tao directly over the phone. Although there would be no one she could beat or scold in the future, it felt too weird for her now that Xiao Tao was taken away by her aunt for a while and then returned. Just hearing the sound made her feel a little scared. But when the words came to her lips, she swallowed them back with difficulty. Now that her aunt has suffered backlash, she is still in seclusion to recover. To be precise, Xiao Tao was released at the discretion of the person who arranged a job for her over the phone. Not to mention that the other party could easily let her join the crew of The Legend of the Fallen City. You can imagine how powerful she is. But what if she fired the person immediately after Xiao Tao was returned? What if she made that person dissatisfied and kicked her out of the crew in anger? She managed to hook up with Soo King-mei today. If she leaves the crew, all her previous efforts will be wasted. She will never allow this to happen now. Then I can only keep Xiao Tao by my side. I will send you a location, you come and find me now. After finishing speaking, Zhang Ziu closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and silently advised herself to just endure the humiliation and bear the burden. One day, she will reach the height of Soo King-mei, even higher than Soo King-mei. Hang up the phone, Xiao Tao clicked on the location Zhang Ziu sent her. When she saw the location of the little green dot on the map, she raised her eyebrows in surprise. It's actually a hotel in the Imperial City Film and Television City. But she remembered that Mr. Shen said that Zhang Ziu broke his leg on the set and had to leave the set and go home to recuperate. Could it be that he went back again? No, this is not the hotel where the crew of Empress Yuan Zhao belongs. Although she didn't follow Zhang Ziu for a few days in total, she remembered clearly that the hotel rented by the crew of Empress Yuan Zhao was not named that way. But he was indeed in a hotel in the Film and Television City, so after carrying his luggage and getting into the taxi again, Xiao Tao clicked on Zhang Ziu's homepage on his mobile phone. Based on her understanding of Zhang Ziu, this person never misses any opportunity to increase his popularity. As long as there is any new endorsement or new work, he will publish updates as soon as possible, and he has always been very active. This time was no exception, and she got the answer quickly. Pinning it to the top is a retweet. It's The Legend of the Fallen City. Thank you Director Lin for the opportunity. Soo King-mei, the master is here, Please be my disciple. What was forwarded later was the announcement from the official account of The Legend of the Allure announcing that Zhang Ziyu had joined the cast. Dynamic. Xiao Tao couldn't help but take a breath. Zhang Ziyu actually turned around and joined The Legend of Allure again, and the role he played was actually the heroine's apprentice. Zhang 11 said, "What virtues and abilities does she have?" Although she couldn't believe it, when she came to Zhang Ziyu, she didn't show any strangeness at all and congratulated her sincerely. "I just found out that Sister Xiao just got the role of Yuxin. Congratulations to Sister Xiao." But it was okay that she didn't say this. When she said this, Zhang Ziyu remembered how he got this role. He smiled reluctantly and said tentatively, "You have been away for more than half a month. Not only have you lost weight, you are also better than before. You can talk now. Xiao Tao is equally impeccable. I went back to visit my mother this time, and my mother reminded me that it doesn't hurt to be sweeter with my immediate boss. Sister Xiao, do you think I've done a good job?" Zhang 11 said, "In place, very much in place. Don't say it next time, just stay in the corner and be a mushroom like before." Asterisk. The sky was bright, and the entire film and television city became lively, and the major production crews started working one after another. Zhang Lingzi arrived at the set early in the morning to put on her makeup. Lu Zhengzhen was about to pick up the breakfast prepared by the set for her and Su Ling'an as usual, but was stopped before she even left the house. "Just take it for you and Anan for breakfast. If you two can finish my share, you can take it back. If you can't finish it, you don't need to take it." Lu Zhengzhen was stunned when he heard this, but quickly realized, "Mr. Shen wants to. Are you back on set?" Zhang Lingzi gave her a faint smile in return. Lu Zhengzhen was so laughed that he shrank his neck, turned around and ran away. Soon, Lu Zhengzhen came back with 2 plastic lunch boxes, and Zhang Lingzi's cell phone on the table vibrated at the right time. She picked up her phone and glanced at the message she had just received, then stood up and said, "You two eat slowly, I will be back later." Su Ling'an and Lu Zhengzhen waved their hands in unison. "Sister, go quickly, don't keep brother-in-law waiting too long." "Sister Zixi, don't worry. I just passed by the set and asked. Today's scene will take about an hour to complete. You and Mr. Shen can eat slowly." Zhang Lingzi. She always felt that there was something wrong with the expressions of these two people, but she couldn't find any evidence. Not far from the set, Zhang Lingzi saw the familiar RV. When she walked to the door of the RV, the door just opened, and she could see the long and tall figure when she raised her head slightly. Shen Yunqing looked at Zhang Lingzi's makeup today, and without even thinking about it, he called her a name he already liked, "Your Majesty." Zhang Lingzi paused as she got into the car. "You're not wearing a costume, so call me Miss Zhang." Shen Yunqing immediately changed his words, "Ms. Zhang." Zhang Lingzi nodded lightly, got in the car, passed him and went straight to the full small dining table not far ahead. It's not in vain that she came here with an empty stomach. Then it's time for breakfast by tacit understanding. One is eating intently, while the other is eating and helping to pick up the vegetables without leaving a trace. The two of them just finished the breakfast on the table without any wastage. After eating, she sat down on the sofa next to her. Zhang Lingzi took a sip of tea to clear her mouth after the meal. She half squinted her eyes and spoke lazily. "Yesterday, the crew of The Legend of the Fallen City suddenly announced that Zhang Ziyu has joined the crew. This is it should be the job that person offered Zhang Ziyu. I originally suspected that Lin Ying, the director of The Legend of the Fallen City, was one of them, but it wasn't until yesterday evening that I was sure that it was not Lin Ying, but Su Qingmei." Su Qingmei, Shen Yunqing thought thoughtfully, there is also Zhang Ziyu. Both of them are actors. It seems that the targets of those people's support are quite targeted. Zhang Lingzi raised her eyes and glanced at him. First it was Zhang Ziyu, and now there's Su Qingmei. I suspect there are still people from them in the entertainment industry. It's very possible Shen Yunqing felt that the person sitting on the sofa at this moment was like a satiated big cat. He resisted the urge to scratch the big cat's chin. Before I came back, I heard Wuja talk about the star. Although the luck of actors is not as good as that of high-ranking officials and wealthy people, the latter is now far inferior to the former in terms of appeal and gathering people's hearts. This may be related to the purpose of those people. Zhang Lingzi, it's really a toss-up. By the way, is Xiao Tao back too? Well, I've returned to Zhangziu. Then we can look forward to the power of hatred first. End of this chapter. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 270. Chapter 270 requires temporary creation. Tong Yu thought that after she rejected Li Yuan, the two of them would go back to the previous state of just nodding when they met, maybe even worse than before. The only thing she didn't expect was that when she came to the company early in the morning, she saw this man's beaming look, which was completely different from last night. He even gave her a smile without hesitation when he looked towards her. Tong Yu. Are you so angry that you just lost your mind and went crazy? She was about to bypass Li Yuan and return to her office. When she was about to pass him by, she was stopped. Sister Tong. Tong Yu had to stop and asked, Yuan, what's the matter? No, I just want to say sorry to Sister Tong. Li Yuan smiled meaningfully. You and Zhang Lingzi have no idea what you gave up yesterday. Tong Yu was confused. Give up for what? It's nothing. Li Yuan just smiled at her and walked away with his head held high. Tong Yu, sick. When she arrived at the office, Tong Yu made herself a cup of coffee, then turned on the computer, logged into her email, and clicked on the inbox that was beeping and blinking. After reading the email, she dialed Lu Zhengzheng in a good mood. Number. As for Li Yuan's strange actions and words he met in the corridor, they have long been forgotten. Zhengzheng, where is your sister Zixi? I was with Mr. Shen. I didn't follow him for fear of affecting their world, he. Tong Yu, haha, then you are quite smart. That's it, Sister Tong, do you have anything to do with Sister Zixi? Forget it, I'm hanging up, I'll call Zioxi directly. She didn't want to call and disturb her, but it was a pity that time waited for no one. Zhang Lingzi had just stood up from the sofa to leave when she received the call from Tong Yu. After answering the call, she sat back down and said, Sister Tong. I just called Zhengzheng and she said you were staying with Mr. Shen. Well, I didn't disturb you, did I? Zhang Lingzi, no. Even if they had a meal and exchanged information they knew, I don't know what the two of them had figured out. It's okay if you don't. There is good news. The registration email from the Heritage Program team has been responded to. The registration is successful. The next process is to submit a work completed in the near future. The deadline is 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Physical or photos of your works are fine, but it's better to send the actual objects to the program team. After all, it's convenient to be in the imperial capital. How about I pick up your work from you and send it to the program team? Zhang Lingzi was silent for a few seconds after hearing this. No need. She has no works recently, and she doesn't even have a complete set of pens, inks, paper and inkstones at home. I won't bother you with this. I'll ask Zhengzheng to send it over when the time comes. Tong Yu was about to nod subconsciously when an idea suddenly flashed in her mind. Wait a minute, isn't your work going to be created on site? Congratulations, Sister Tong, for your correct answer. Tong Yu raised her hand and patted her forehead. You. After waiting for a long time, she sighed and corrected, this is not a surprise, this is a fright. No, you have to give me an accurate word, are you sure it can be completed? Sister Tong, I won't do anything I'm not sure about. I'll believe you this time. She said she believed it, but after hanging up the phone, Tong Yu couldn't help but get up and walk around the office a few times before she managed to calm down. Want to continue participating in Legendary? Zhang Lingzi was not surprised that Shen Yunqing heard Tong Yu's voice on the phone. When she answered the phone, she had no intention of avoiding this person. She nodded honestly. The next issue of Legendary is about calligraphy and painting. Someone wanted to use a when he went to work in Country Y. He wanted me to help introduce him to this program, but I asked Sister Tong to refuse. Now I am going to try it myself. Compared with other programs, this program is quite interesting. Dimensionality reduction strike. Zhang Lingzi glanced at him and said, although I am a little better than you at chess, I also admit that I am inferior to you in calligraphy and painting. In this world where there are crouching tigers and hidden dragons, how can you say that I went there and it was a dimensionality reduction strike? I made a mistake. Shen Yunqing decisively admitted the mistake. Then I wish you Majesty in advance, Miss Zhang, a successful victory. I'd like to lend you some good advice. Zhang Lingzi smiled and waved her hand. It's getting late, I have to go back and wait. Don't send it off. Shen Yunqing could only stand at the door of the car and watch, until the back disappeared from his field of vision. Then he closed the car door and reached out to knock on the glass that separated the cab in front. Soon, a voice sounded in the carriage. Boss. The next episode of Heritage is being recorded. Help me buy a ticket for the auditorium. Okay boss, I'll contact you right away. A few minutes later. He Zhu's voice was a little more apologetic. Boss, I'm sorry. How? The tickets have been sold out. I contacted you a step too late. The last ticket was issued 3 minutes ago. I will try to find a way to ask if anyone is willing to transfer the ticket at a high price. Good. A few more minutes passed. He Zhu's voice was a little more guilty. Boss, I just learned that half of the tickets for the auditorium this time are given away and are not allowed to be transferred. Although the other half can be transferred, I contacted several people and there is no intention to transfer. There seems to be news that some important person will appear in this episode. Shen Yunqing frowned and said, forget it. Since you can't be an audience member, just find a way to use another identity. Let's go back. Asterisk. The program group Heritage. The new issue of Calligraphy and Painting has been open for registration for several days. Whether they are amateur celebrities or folk contestants from all over the country, they can actively sign up and strive for a chance to appear on a national TV program. This is going to be a bit fast, and even the works have been sent or transmitted to the program team. As the special commentator for this issue, Li Wangxuan also serves as a preliminary reviewer before the recording of the program begins. She is responsible for reviewing the works that have arrived at the program group and selecting the best ones to be featured on the program group. Stage. Lao Shi had nothing to do, so he simply sent his wife to the program set in person. In the huge room, the central air conditioning brings bursts of coolness. The 3 originally clean walls in the room are now covered with works of all sizes. The other wall is hung with a high-definition LCD screen to display the players' works passed on. After Shi Lao followed his wife into the room with his hands behind his back, he consciously silenced himself and did not disturb his wife's work. Mr. Li is here. Old Shi is here too. 2 reviewers who had arrived in advance hurried over to say hello. Although they were the same invited reviewers as Li Wangxuan, in terms of their status in the world of calligraphy and painting, they can only be regarded as Li Wangxuan's descendants. In their line of work, if the younger generation disrespects their elders, they will be stabbed in the back. Li Wangxuan nodded towards the 2 of them. Have you already collected so many works? It seems that our calligraphy and painting world is full of talents. After speaking, she looked back at her husband with a slightly proud look. Shi Lao. Didn't he just say something unconvinced about the piano, chess, calligraphy, and painting on the way here, and chess was still ranked ahead of calligraphy and painting? How come you still remember this? Yes, after all, the deadline is coming soon, and the contestants who will be on the show will be selected from these works as expected. As soon as the man finished speaking, he heard a voice coming from the earphones. After hearing this, his face became a little ugly. "Well, Mr. Lee, the chief director of the program team just said that a quota should be reserved." End of this chapter.